Sunrise on a Saturday, I'm headed out to the lake, just my buddy and me. Got my boat hooked up to my Chevy truck. I'm running high on luck, I ain't ever coming down. Time to back the boat down the ramp again. Do everything we can to come back in with a winning side. That's the life of a fisherman you wouldn't understand. Something you can't feel on dry land. You gotta get your arm up in a cage and set the hook on a smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. Gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a Gila beside. I bet you like what you feel. Stay on a day. Yes, in the world. Hello, welcome to my world.
Looking like a Home Depot, a Lowe's, an Ace Hardware. If you guys can see the green room right now, it's like hammer, hammer, hammer. Like I'm trying not to come across as like a fanboy, but I'm a fanboy. Like these three guys that are sitting in the green room right now, holy crap. Guys, we're doing the show. Like, this is time for the weigh-in. Are you guys ready? Because I'm ready. We're cutting through all the red tape. There is so much to go through in this episode, in this next hour, a little over because Chad's on. In this next hour, right? There's so much. There is so much. There is announcement after announcement. There's backstory that I didn't even know about, or I knew about, but I didn't know enough. Like this is history. This is the 10. This is our final episode of the DZ 10, this series that we've ran for 14 nights. I'm going to cut to the chase. You guys have already seen all the episodes with all of these guys right here. If you missed any of this, I'm telling you guys right now, go back and watch all of these episodes, because every single one of these guys deserves your time, deserves your attention. They've put in the grind. They've put in the work. Every single one of these guys, Brad Case, Jamie Broad, Casey Reed, Cody Milton, Dylan Fuqua, Matthew Scotch, Derek Brundle, Ken Wood, Mike Elsey, Josh Stewart, and of course, the 2019 Angler of the Year, Mr. Russ Snyders. Every single one of these episodes is available on every podcast platform that's out there. You can find all of these on kayakbassfishing.com/the weigh-in, or you can go to Scott Beutjer Fishing on YouTube and download these as well. These are episodes that you guys want to watch. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This is going to be good, guys. We're going to get into some conversation tonight, get into some announcements. The main event that we've been sharing around and talking about all day long today is of course Ron Champion and Cory Dreyer, the co-champs from the original 10. They're going to come on and talk a little bit about the original 10. What it was, what you thought it was, and what it was perceived to be, what went down, the story behind the scenes, and then they're also going to chime in and weigh in on how it's grown. Neither one of those guys are in this year. And so we're going to talk about some of that. We're going to weigh in on those things. Hoover is coming down off of a high from the LSU championship game last night. He's in the green room right now. He's coming on to talk a little bit about this. I've got some questions from him about the original 10 that I want him to clarify before we bring these other two champs on and talk about some of that. We've got an announcement to make. There's tons of crap going on, so let's get into it. I'd love to shout all you guys out. You know how to do this. Drop in the comment section right now. Let us know where you're watching from, and then go in and smash that share button. We're getting into it right now. 1, 2, 3, let's go. What's going on, Facebook Live? Woo! What up, everybody? Welcome to the weigh-in. I'm your host, Scott Beutjer, and holy crap, here comes the Hoove in the house right now. Let's get it started. Welcome to the weigh-in. What's going on, Chad Hoover?
Coming down off the high, baby. I ain't coming down. That was the best season of college football in college football history. I know it'll never be duplicated again by LSU or by anybody. So it is what it is, man. They beat 2 of the top 4 teams by like 40-something points combined. I mean, bro, that's all I got to say.
I can't even hate, bro. They destroyed my Crimson Tide, bro. We look like children. We look like children when we play y'all. It was a great game. I'm not gonna lie. I left the house this morning at 5 a.m. to go meet you. You guys don't, yeah. So I went to go meet you this morning. So I went to bed after the third quarter. Bro, pumped. Congratulations, LSU. Love seeing it in the SEC. Obviously, that's your hometown. That's your neck of the woods. That's your team. Big congratulations, bro. That was a big win.
Thank you, man. It ain't always been like that, and it don't want to always be like that. So,
right now, bro.
Yeah, man. Shine. Yes, sir. All right.
So let's do that. Let's talk about the big win. I want to I want to see I don't want to see. I got some questions. There is I mean, obviously we know we love to stay positive. We love to talk about, things that happened and how we fix things and how we move forward. You've never been a stranger to controversy. But you've also always faced things head on. You've always came out and said, look, this is what we did. This is what happened. And then the first 10, it went down, but it didn't necessarily go down exactly how it was planned. So before I go to these co-champs, I mean, I want to talk to you. I mean, what was the first 10? How was it different from what you planned it to be for the first event?
So I want to kind of start off by saying, listen, it's never that I've been going after controversy. It's that we've been trying to defend our position.
Correct.
Because we've worked so hard to provide these opportunities for anglers. And I finally kind of a couple years ago realized, like, listen, it's a clash of passion, and I get it, and I got to stop, and I got to just focus on doing what I do. So nobody wants controversy, and nobody wants it less than us. Us at KBF, we work really hard. So it's not like we're against the anglers. We never want to DQ anybody. We don't want to DQ a fish. We don't want to make rules that we don't have to. But we're also a business with people who have worked our lives. So we have to have things that protect us and protect the business and protect the anglers. And so it's just part of it. But what happened with that event was a classic case of we were doing too much too soon with a lot of other stuff going on. And we ended up with one set of rules posted in one place and an addendum for the event posted in another place. 100%.
Let me preference all this, guys. This was 4 years ago. We're just
4 years ago. Yeah. But it's just like anything else, not just with KBF as an organization and it growing, but any event concept that you're trying to develop, especially if you're the first time that thing like that has ever been done.
Correct.
So we decided to have a special set of rules for this event. And instead of having a special set of rules for the event and having the set of rules for the standard stuff, we should have just did a better job of consolidating that event into the way that we do things. Again, hindsight being 2020, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback things. But the idea behind it was we were going to do this special event. So without getting too wrapped up into what was wrong, it was real simple. There was one set of rules, the set of rules said one thing, a special event addendum said another thing. According to one way of looking at it, Ron Champion wins the event.
All right, let's slow down. What happened so that way people understand what we're talking about? What happened?
So what happened was there was a tie, but we had in two different places what broke the tie or what we did in case of the tie, and they conflicted with each other. But here's what I want to say about this. Without getting into too much detail of how we screwed up, I want to talk about what the fix was and what we've done since then and why these two guys are not only critical and crucial into the development of this event that has become, not just in my opinion, but it's been anointed by the anglers as one of, if not the most elite event in kayak fishing.
My favorite event, hands down.
It could have blown up in the first year. It could have even blown KBF up had these two guys not handled this thing or helped us handle it or been professional about it. So I want to make this statement in I want to make this up front. When you do things the way that Ron Champion did it and Cory Dreyer did it for this event, and you work with an organization instead of going out onto social media and bashing people and throwing a temper tantrum and all that, it allows the process to take place for something to incrementally get better and better and better. And for us to come to the place where we are now with the 10, to come to the place where we're going to be with the 10, and to ultimately get to where, the vision was for this event from the get-go. So I'm going to say this before we even get started. when we did this event and it came down to a tie, it was one of those things. My heart fell out my butt at the last minute, right there on the spot. Like, oh no! And then we just thought we had a clear.
I mean, you almost can't plan for that.
Well, you can, but we thought we had a caveat in place, and we did. But we had two caveats in two different places that conflicted with each other, and that was 100% our fault for trying. Again, we were trying to do that and get the season going at the same time. Lots of I's to dot, lots of T's to cross, and at that point, it was really me and Joe. We had very little help with some volunteers here and there, and Richard helping out some. And I mean, honestly, at that point, there wasn't much help. So we were dog paddling up a waterfall.
I mean, you guys are still bootstrapping, but you were really bootstrapping back then.
And we were dog paddling up a waterfall. I was shooting a TV show to put these guys, out there in the forefront of the sport. At the same time, trying to do that, Joe's trying to judge and score and do all that kind of stuff and administer the event.
It came down to a tie between Ron Champion and Cory Dreyer. There was a set of rules here and a set of rules here. They conflicted with each other. Ron believed one thing because it was what was written down. Cory believed one thing because it was what he had seen and what he had heard in another event.
And it was also written down. It was also written down in a different place.
So I want to be perfectly clear because for me, as a fan of this community, what we're talking about tonight and what we're going to talk about with these two guys once we bring them on, only shows the commitment to the community and to the anglers flat out. And Chad, I don't mean to be disrespectful, bro, but flat out, these two guys had the ability to single-handedly sink the 10 had they not been professional and worked together. Right.
I was about to get in on that. Not only did they have the ability to single-handedly sink the 10, it could have been a domino effect that really affected a lot of the other things that KBF has been able to do to the industry. The momentum for the national championship, the momentum to get Angler of the Year sponsorship, to take Angler of the Year to where we've taken it.
These guys saw that, right? They saw that in each other. They saw that in KBF.
I don't know. Let me tell you what I think is what was more fundamentally at play than anything, because I hate to say that somebody who's looking at $10,000 check in their hand in the moment of the emotion of just having fished your butt off and grinded. I mean, they grinded, right? To have the foresight to say, this is a decision I need to make based on the future of the sport. I don't know. But here's what I can say.
I'm going to ask them in just a few minutes.
Guys. Yeah, it really is more up to them than it is up to me. But here's what I can tell you. I can tell you from my perception as the leader of the organization at the time, and the guy that had to make the call to go talk to Ron. I had to go talk to Ron and pull Ron aside and say, per the event addendum, you win this event. Per the rule that's on the webpage, Cory wins the event. But here's the thing, bro. He's like, Ron's a passionate dude, right? And he's a big dude. So if you've ever been next to a big, passionate dude, you understand. So I had to go basically pull Ron to the side and say, all right, man, I need to talk to you for a second. Okay. Here's where we're at. Ron was like, you could tell he was not happy, right? Nor would I have been.
There's a ton that goes into this. These guys fought all year to get to this house, to get to this opportunity, to get to this $10,000 check. And I mean, like my heart's racing now talking about it, and it was 4 years ago.
But it took Ron. I'm not going to say he instantly said, what do we need to do? But within a minute or two, he said, all right, dude, what are you trying to tell me? I said, no, I'm not trying to tell you. I'm coming to you to say this literally rests on you. You can call the letter of the law, and then this is the deal, and I will take care of. I will deal with the face shot, the drama, this, that, and the other. Or the other option is we declare this a co-champion situation, and one of you or both of y'all are champions. And what I can do is guarantee that both of you come back to the 10 next year, and we'll do something special for y'all next year. Ron said, you know what, man, to be honest with you, let me think about it a minute. He just being real with you, he kind of walked off. I went back and I talked to Cory. I talked to Joe. Joe asked me, hey, what are you going to do? I said, honestly.
How soon after the event? I mean, y'all knew instantly that it was a tie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Cory tied it up right as the leaderboard went off. but most of the anglers didn't know it. And we knew. And we were looking for any other way to separate it other than that, right? We were looking for, the biggest fish, this, that, all that stuff. And the big fish was one way and time was another way. And that's why there was the conflict. So Ron said, give me a minute, man. And he just walked off for a second. And I said, all right. So I went and talked to Joe, and I said to Joe, and this is how this thing Ho said. I said, it's in Ron's hands. Joe said, what do you mean? He said, well, we could just say it's a tie. I said, it's in Ron's hands. Ron is by default gets to make this decision. If he wants to go co-champion, we go co-champion. I think it's what's best, and I recommended that to him, but he has the right to say, nah, dude, nah. Ron said,
now, and this is a question for these guys, but I mean, I want to know what because I know their relationship now. I mean, these men are brothers now. I mean, like hardcore. I know how close they are. So I mean, so ultimately, dude, I got Chad. I got to get to them, bro.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. Let me just finish this up. I walked back over to Ron after talking to Joe, and I said, "What do you want to do?" He said, "Man, honestly, I'm down with it. I think it makes the most sense. Cory's a good dude, and he's like, I trust your judgment. You're going to take care of it. Take care of me. I got Ron into kayak fishing, so maybe that had a little bit to do with it. He's like a brother from another mother, and I didn't want to or feel like I put that on him to say that, man, you can't. Let me just say this: Ron Champion, in my opinion, is the first big champion of the progression of kayak fishing outside of a title, a trophy, or any of this other stuff, because the dude is selfless. He's got a big heart. He's a family man. He's loyal. But here's the thing. That guy, like I said, like a brother from another mother, is level-headed and said, all right, so what does that mean? How does that work? And we talked it out, and he said, all right, man, I'm good with that. I said, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the award ceremony. We're going to declare the tie. We're going to declare both of you guys co-champions, and then we'll settle it next year with a promotion called Unfinished Business. And we'll do a cash prize that will come out of my pocket, and it did. Well, everything was coming out of my pocket then, but that especially did, called Unfinished Business.
And that was why those two guys came in year 2, and we had the battle at year 2 at the 10.
It was kind of an event within an event.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to say. Cory won that event, right? But I think in the hearts and the minds of the world of kayak fishing, it should be forever recorded, and it should be forever known that Ron Champion is the reason the 10 is what the 10 is now, because he could have easily been what a lot of people are in this sport right now, which are, a lot of people in this sport right now tout themselves a leader by going out and challenging other leaders publicly and blasting people and saying, it's not drama if it's this, or this, or no, it is. If you work behind the scenes to make things better, you're making things better. If you have it on a public page to where sponsors and other anglers, and it tears down the industry and tears down the sport, and it reflects poorly to the industry for us as a community, then it's not good. Ron doesn't do that. Ron hasn't done that. And on this day and this event, that dude forever demonstrated to me what his character is all about. That, not that I needed to, because I already knew him, what his integrity is about.
Admitted who he was.
And that, regardless of the name across the back of his jersey, but that dude is a champion, right? Because of the character, because of the integrity, because, dead to rights, based on that event addendum, if one superseded the other one, Ron wins that event. And we're not even having this conversation about co-champion. But Ron knew what was out there. He knew that it would create controversy. He knew that this was the best course of action for the sport first. And what I love about guys like Ron is they put whatever's bigger than themselves before themselves, in faith and family and all of those things. He did that day, right in the throes of being the first ever standing on that stage by himself and owning that title.
And him and Cory have carried that torch for the last 4 years. I mean, down the road, bro. I mean, they've done it. Chad, I know, dude, you've got to now. I want to. I've got so many questions for these two guys.
Absolutely.
Can you come back at the end of this, because I want to talk about. You've got. I mean, can we announce?
Yeah,
announcing?
So I got two things for you. One thing, I sent you a graphic. You should have that in your email.
I got it.
Here's what I want to tell you. Before these guys even get on there, I want everybody out there to know that this was the plan for the 10 from the beginning. It's going to get even better. And it's these two guys that you're about to listen to talk about this event. That is the reason this event is still becoming what it is and getting better and better. And based on the response this year, based on the sponsorship support, based on everything that we've done.
We're not announcing that yet.
We've come over the top with the ability to take next year to even better. So, Scott, I want you to show that next year even looks better than this year before we even talk about it. Just go ahead and throw it up there, man. This is what we're doing next year.
Well, you're throwing me under the table here. I don't have that up there, but I think I'm going to go get it right now. You're good. It's coming right now.
And I do got something for the end of the show as well, but we need to get to Ron and Cory and the giveaway.
I absolutely want to talk to these guys. So again, and going in, we threw out the payout for the 2020. Let me throw that up on the screen, guys. Ron, Cory, we are coming. I've got so many questions, guys. We threw out we threw out the payout right here on the screen. This was for this year. We threw this out 12 days ago, right? And even then, that was a pretty good announcement, a pretty good lead time, right, for what you guys have done in the past. What you're telling me to do right now, right, and just making sure I'm getting on the same page with you. What you're telling me right now is to throw up the 2021 payout for the 10, right?
Yep. And I'm hoping to have the 2022 payout done by ICAST this year.
So the 2021 payout for the DZ the 10 is right here.
Yep.
This is the payout for the 2021 DZ the 10. $10,000 to first place, $8,000 to second, $6,000 to third, $4,000 to fourth, $3,000 to fifth, $2,000 to sixth place, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Walk in the house and grab a $1,000 check regardless. And Hoover, you've got even more on top of this, right?
Yeah, one last thing, and I'm going to jump off here and let you get right to Cory and Ron. So that's the payout schedule for next year based on projections and what we know we're going to be able to do. So we're committing to this right now.
This is a lock.
That's a lock. But
done deal. You guys heard it.
Yeah, done deal. It's in the bank. And here's the other thing. A lot of times people don't know what's worth doing. And I heard a lot of people say, man, if I'd have known what the 10 payout was in 2020, I would have done this or that. Okay, well now, before the first event ever happens, we're putting the 2021 payout. So if you finish in the top 10 of the Angle of the Year race at the Trail Series Championship this year, that's what you're looking to go compete for. And people need to understand this is not 100% payout. This is 100% above and beyond. There is no entry fee for this.
There's no entry fee, correct.
This is 100% out of operating funds. This is 100% out of operating funds, out of sponsorships, out of the percentages of memberships that we can move into this category, and all the things that we've been able to do, so we can give back to the community. But this year, what we did is we decided to go ahead and send out the $1,000, which we're in the process of doing right now, because everybody's getting $1,000. So why not send it out ahead of time? But what we're going to do for this event is that's the payout. But in addition to the payout, a month out from the event, the anglers are going to Google Map from their house to the location. They're going to screenshot that or forward it to Christy.
Correct.
Christy's going to cut them a check for $1 a mile, which is basically 50 cents there and 50 cents back, to cover their expenses to get there and back. So we cover their expenses when they get there, and now we're going to cover their expenses to get there and back on top of the payout. So that's the plan for 2021.
On top of this payout, guys, for the 2021 DZ the 10, your payout is going to be $37,000 to 10 different places. On top of that, your travel to and from is going to be paid to you in advance. Woo! Hoover, bro.
And so if you look at the trajectory and look at last year and look at this year, it's not hard to figure out where we're going. Where we're going long term is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know what I'm saying? And then expenses, and then a stupid prize package just for showing up, and guaranteed sponsorships moving forward and things like that. But man, get me out of here. Get those other two guys on there, and let's talk at the end.
Hoover, man, I appreciate it. I'm gonna go bring these guys on, and I've got so many questions. And dude, thanks for coming on. I know that talking about 4 years ago in history and past, this needed to be addressed. It's amazing storytelling, and it's a part of the history of the 10. And I can't wait to talk to these two class acts, bro. I'll catch up with you later.
I'll be here waiting. Thanks,
Later.
brother.
All right, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm stoked over those payouts. That is huge. But I can't wait to have some conversation here with Ron Champion and Cory Dreyer, and we are doing that right now. So much history, so much went into these events, so much went down for these two guys to carry themselves the way that
Can
they
you hear me,
do.
Cory?
You guys all know these names.
I can hear you. I can't see you.
Okay, I can see you,
Can you
but
hear him?
I couldn't hear anything with Scott and Chad there the last couple minutes.
Can you hear Cory now?
I couldn't either. I had to sign out.
Okay. Are you
You
good,
signed
Ron?
out.
I
Or you
can't
guys are
see.
both on,
I can't see Ron.
but you can hear him.
I can only see Cory.
But okay, well, it'll catch up. It'll catch up. You're on. You let it run for a second. It'll catch up. You can both hear me, right? Ron, you hear me? You guys give me just a second here. Let me make sure that we're good to go here. Let me see if I can bring both these guys back in. Ron, Cory, I kicked both of you guys out real quick. See if we can bring you guys back in. Cory's back in the house now. See if we can bring him back in. I kicked Ron out. What's up, buddy? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
All right, let me pull up Ron here real quick. Make sure we got all this guys worked out. Guys, there's so much to go into here. Ron, how's that, brother?
There he is.
Ron, if you're pulling off a car Wi-Fi,
I can hear
take you a minute.
Cory, but I can't hear
That's
Scott.
okay. Can you hear me?
He can't hear you, Scott.
He should be able to. Give him just a second there.
I can see Scott, but I can't hear him.
You can't hear me. Let me see this. Let me kill
But I can hear you, Cory.
Okay.
All right. Let me make sure we got everybody there. Ron, I'm kicking you one more time. All right. Let me see if I can get that there. Dude, I mean, we're going to get Ron on, but Core, I mean, like my heart was racing. My blood pressure was running. Like you had to be. I mean, how was that reliving that for a minute?
And it brought it back. It seemed like it was yesterday, to be honest with you. So, it was a tough time for all of us. But, we made it work. There he is.
Ron, how's that, buddy?
I can hear you now.
All right. Good to go. Good to go. You got
You got me,
Cory?
Ron?
Yep, I got Cory too.
There we go. Good to go. All right, Ron, I'm going to let Cory finish, and then Ron, same question to you.
Sure.
I was getting heated and kind of getting, a little excited, a little worked up, just hearing what had happened, and I wasn't even there, wasn't living it. I didn't even know what the sport was. I mean, that trip down memory lane, like, what does that bring back for you? Cory first, please.
I mean, it brings back, great memories and bad memories. None of us wanted to tie. It was one of those things that was unfortunate with the rules and whatnot. And at the end of the day, we worked it out, and Ron and I are great friends. So that's all that mattered to me, is that it got worked out, and we tried to mitigate the drama that it could have caused.
Ron, I mean, how did this night hearing Chad talk about it, what did that bring back for you, sir?
Oh yeah, I mean it was there's more to the story as well that went on in the house. And I said when I agreed to do this show that we would it was all going to be revealed.
Absolutely.
There was 10 guys in that house that really changed the way that the 10 is now, the way that the payout, the form is. And so I'm going to go back, if you don't care, and kind of talk about.
Absolutely. I would, yeah.
So once everybody got to the house, you can imagine, I mean, 10 guys, I mean, being just all staying in the same place. Everybody's excited to fish a lake like Bienville. We were all just jacked up to be there, and we didn't have to, I mean, we could have just been there just to be fishing, not necessarily fishing for money. We were just happy to make it. I lost you, Scott. Are you still there?
No, I'm still there, bro. I'm here.
Okay. All right.
I'm putting the focus on y'all. You're good.
Okay. We were just happy to be there. And I don't even remember what night it was. We were sitting around. I was like, man, it's $10,000. It'd been nice to, if that money was kind of divided up, between all of the anglers instead of just one person walking away with all the money. And so as the night kind of went on, we kind of collectively, as a group of anglers, said, who would be up for what if we chop this money up?
This
You
is
know
the
what?
first night in the house, right? I'm just
This
clarifying.
is just the
Yes, sir.
10 anglers. Nobody in this house but the 10 people that was fishing this tournament. It was like, if we could agree on this, everybody would have to agree on it. And everybody voted like, yeah, we could do a first, second, and third place, and at least 3 people would leave with money, and then it turned into, well, what if everybody kicked in an extra $50 out of your own pocket, and we fourth place went home with 300, and fifth place went home with 200. Now half of the field is literally going to go away with money.
Okay, wait a minute. I want to slow down. So I just want to make sure I'm getting this right, Ron. I don't want to step on toes, sir. So I mean, there was 10 grand, right? That was supposed to go to first place.
Yes.
The first night of the event, the 10 anglers are in the house, and it's just y'all. You're discussing how do we pay more people. Y'all reached into your own pockets. This is an event that you didn't have to pay an entry fee to get into.
Correct.
Y'all reached into your own pocket for $50 each.
Yep.
Yes,
So
sir.
I mean, that's another $500.
So we agreed, like, if everybody was, and this was, we had to approach Chad and talk to Joe about it, because this was their deal, and they agreed that somebody's got to hold a $10,000 check at the end of this.
Well, they were doing a TV show, right?
Yeah, that's what was promoted, and we understood that. But if we agreed as a group, and everybody signed their name to a piece of paper agreeing to this, there was no word of mouth. We all signed a piece of paper that night. KBF said that we could do it if everybody agreed to it. Everybody put an extra $50 in. Cory, do you remember who held the money?
I want to say it was Jamie, but I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% certain.
I think it might be right.
Denison?
Yeah.
Yep. So
that was obviously the first time. Like that was
He roomed with me though, so it'd been all right.
They held the extra money. One of the anglers, I think it might have been Jamie, and we all agreed. KBF said, "Okay, y'all can do that." And so even before the first day of fishing. This was done before the first day of the tournament. We knew that first through fifth place was going to leave there with money.
So y'all took a $10,000 payday and decided to split it up to where at least half the field was getting some cash.
That's
just
right. We wanted
5, 3, and 2.
Yeah, we wanted the group to we wanted more people to walk away, because again, we'd fished all year. This was like a bonus thing for everybody. And I mean, not one person said no, that's a bad idea. Every single person there did that. And now if you look back and look where the 10 is now, look, all 10 guys are getting paid.
For the first year. It took 4 years to get there, but this happened because you 10 guys. I love you, Hoover. And I know, and I get it. I know KBF and like all this started, but because of those 10 guys selflessly sat in a room and said, we want better for everyone.
Yep.
3 years later, every single person's getting a paycheck.
Yeah. So once we agreed on that, and then the tournament started, and then it's just fishing. I think Jay was leading it after day one. I was right behind him. I think Cory, was you right behind me? We were all right there.
Yeah.
One,
we were
2, 3.
1, 2, and 3.
And then and then we went out the second day. The funny thing is, man, is I got to witness Cory catching that big giant fish where he tied me with like a couple hours to go.
It was 20 minutes actually.
If you guys are just tuning in and you don't know, this all happened on Bienville Plantation. These guys are in one log cabin living together for this week, going into the first ever event, the first of its kind. This had never been done before. At the end of the day, they're flat out filming a TV show. That's what this whole spectacle was originally about. But because of the selfless acts of what these guys came together and did way before there was a tie, we're going to get into that in a minute. But because of these guys selflessly coming together, reaching into their own pot to make sure that there's enough money for at least half the field, the top 5 guys, to take home a check. Right now, fast forward 3 years later, Chad Hoover and KBF just announced this year that all 10 guys are getting paid a minimum of $1,000, and we just launched the payout for next year's event, where everybody's making a minimum of $1,000 plus getting travel completely reimbursed.
Yeah.
So now I want to get into the top.
Hang on. There's a little bit more to this story. And let's. We're gonna get
We're going to talk
everything
about
out
it.
there tonight,
I
and
like
there's
it.
plenty to talk about. So yes, me and Cory, the second day we fished within probably 100 yards of each other for a few hours. He was watching me catch some fish. I watched him catch fish. But I think we kind of knew that we were real close to each other as far as in length, but I was trying not to pay as much attention, and I know he was too, because was focused on fishing. But once we came in. At the end of the day, it was. I was on the edge of my seat, stomach's all tore up because I knew I was up there close. Cory was the same way, but then when Chad, came to me, and I knew he came to
This was a
Cory.
2-day event too, right?
Yeah, it's a 2-day event. This is the second day, and when he told us, he told us separately. When he told me, I don't know. I can imagine how Cory felt, but I know, like, my stomach, dude. I was like, this cannot be happening. There's no way that this is happening. But then on the other side of it, we had already decided to chop this money up, and we're both sitting here thinking, it's like, we're leaving with money. So it really, honestly, I think it did make the decision easier, because now you're just talking about, okay, who's going to stand up there and hold the check? Because when Chad told me, he said, "Look, somebody's got to hold a $10,000 check. Somebody does."
For the
I
TV
told him,
show. I mean,
yeah, it's a
all
TV
cards
show,
on the table. They
and
were filming a show.
I told him, I said, dude, I don't care. Cory can hold it. I was like, that doesn't bother me, because I'll say this, Cory was a friend before,
That's what I want to know. Like, I want to dig into that, Ron. What was the friendship before this event between you two?
The first time I ever met Cory was at Santee Cooper. It was in 2014, and I'd caught a giant fish, 11.41 on the day of the tournament. I mean, I had a great day. I think I was in like second or third after that first day, but I had a giant fish. And I can remember meeting Cory for the very first time face to face. We were sitting in that little restaurant just talking, and I knew I liked him from that day on, and we've been friends.
You're a terrible judge of character, Ron, but okay.
But when this deal happened, man, I mean, I didn't want, it needed to be handled the best possible way that it could have been handled. I literally had just went through a bad ordeal out in Texas with the 10, where on the no they ended up no I ended up I was in second place. Guillermo Gonzalez ended up winning it. They ended up taking his whole entire 5 fish away from him because he answered a phone call. They ended up taking a fish away from me after they told me that it was approved 5 or probably 4 hours after the tournament was over with. And I had 5 fish I could have used, that was still on my camera card, and would have ended up still getting second, dropped me to fourth. I'd already went through a lot of stuff, and I just literally in November. And then this event was when was this event, Cory? Was it January?
It was the end of January,
just a few
correct.
months later. So
Yep.
it was just a whole lot of bad luck going on. And I was like, man, I don't want anything bad for him, and I know he don't want anything bad for me.
We talk a lot on this show about the infancy stages of what this community is and how we're growing. And we always hear grow the sport. We always hear the community this, community that. I mean, you guys really had. I mean, we still don't know what this is going to be.
There was no blueprint, to go by to get kayak fishing where it's at. This sport, you know, I mean, the tournament side you can look at, and there's no doubt that Chad Hoover and KBF built, the kayak bass fishing sport. I mean, there's no doubt on that, but it's evolved. The anglers is what has evolved the sport.
100%.
And have put their heart and soul into this. And I saw it. I mean, I saw it from a long time ago. I know Cory did, and like I said, since this event has happened, man, I love Cory Dreyer. I love that man. I love the man he is. I love the family man that he is. Because when I look at him, I truly I can see myself. You know, family's more important than anything, and that when you having that brotherly love, man, that goes a long way with me, and we've got a great relationship. Probably better than most since this event happened. I think it brought us closer together, to be honest with you.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough, man. It was hard for both of us, and I know Cory. He's probably got some stuff to tell because, you know, after this event was over with, you know, he was having to deal with some stuff just like I was, because, you know,
Well, there was a TV show coming out. Like you said, I mean, you had to
yeah.
hold a $10,000 check. You guys had, I mean, you weren't lying about what had happened in the house, but you
Well,
also
we just wouldn't telling nobody. You know, we was going to keep it as quiet as possible. You know, yes, we both were getting paid. You know, but you know, at the other side, I know Cory had. You know, Cory, I'll let you tell it. You know, you had people reaching out to you, and you didn't want to lie to people. And I'll let you tell your side, and I'll tell mine.
Cory, what happened? I mean, Cory, I'll shut up. Cory, what your side, bro?
Just to add on, you know, I mean, Ron pretty much hit it on the head. You know, after this happened, you know, and I left. I mean, I was getting phone call after phone call on the road. People upset with me, upset with KBF, bad mouthing everybody, and you know, I tried to just keep my head in it. And I said, look, you know, it is what it is. We're gonna work it out. Ron's a good dude. He's my buddy. I said everything's gonna be fine. But people went bashing KBF, trashing that, you know, caught wind of it, and it was tough, to be honest. Tough to sit back and listen, and you know, want to make sure we were taken care of, and it ended up actually when I left. Ron didn't go into this detail, but when I left with $5,000. Ron had three, and Jamie had two. And Ron and I, we talked the next day on the phone, and I ended up PayPal. They had sent us our money immediately. I'd ended up PayPaling, you know, $1,000 back over to Ron. We split that, you know, so we ended up leaving with $4,000 a piece, and then Jamie left with two. We also in the house, we also had a big bass pot that Jamie took the money up for that. So we did $50, I think, person or 20. I can't remember what it was, to be honest.
20, I think. 20
was
a
it
person.
20?
Yeah, I think.
And so we did that for both days just to make sure that, you know, everybody was leaving with something. You know, and we had a great time. I mean, regardless of what happened at the end, it was the best thing that, you know, one of the best events I've ever been at, hands down.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I know Cory, like when people were questioning him on his way home because, you know, hey man, you got 10 grand because nobody knew. Everybody thought Cory walked away with 10,000. And I got
Yeah.
people calling me and being like, dude, I can't believe you didn't, you know, the rules said this and you just bent over and why did you not
From the
fight for that?
from the outside looking in, it looked like you had rolled over, right? It looked like you had gotten. I mean,
yeah,
Right.
and nobody knew the backstory because we were going to keep everything as quiet as possible. And Cory, when he called me,
I want to talk about
finish.
that.
Hang on, let me finish this part though. But Cory, the next day, he's called me. He's like, dude, he's like, man, I'm not. I don't want to lie to nobody. And he told
Right.
me that. He literally told me, he's like, I don't want to lie because that stuff that can ruin you as an angler, you know. And I was like, dude, I got people mad at me, and I'm like telling them, I was like, well, there's more to it. You just don't know. And Cory was like, look, man, because he left with 5, and I left with 3. And this is the kind of man Cory Dreyer is. He's like, dude, he said, you'd even talk to your wife about this.
Oh yeah.
Cory,
Yep.
I remember this. And he told me, he said, man,
Shout out to Rena.
he said, I'm going to send you $1,000. He said, this is Cory said, I'm going to send you $1,000. He said, that way me and you split
You're co-champions. You should be
four,
co-money.
4,000,
Yeah.
but as a house, we had agreed it was going to be 5,000, 3,000, 2,000. We were going to chop that 10. So, but Cory's like, man, we split the title. We should split the money. And he PayPal me after he told me that, dude, it wasn't an hour. He PayPal me $1,000.
I have two what I think really deep questions. Okay, and guys, y'all answer however you guys feel desired. One, how much did you guys? How do I even word that? how did you know, or did you know, you guys came into it feeling like you had to hide that you were splitting money so that the sport would be saved, so that we would say that we were giving 10 grand to one guy because that's what we had advertised, that's what the TV show was about, and we were scared to show the community that we really are, right? And I'm not going to say scared, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like everybody was going to say hush. The 10 guys had signed the paperwork saying this is what we're doing, this is the face the 10 of us are going to put forward. You went to KBF, you got it approved, you got it done. Then it comes down to a tie. Did looking back on it now, like it seems like we all talk about community, and that's the only reason I'm even in this sport, guys, is because of the community that I've seen this sport present time and time again. Looking back on it now, gentlemen, does it feel silly to think, because now we would just come out and go, hey, we're splitting the cash, this is what we're doing? But 4 years ago, there wasn't the thought to do that. The thought was the opposite, right? Weigh in.
I don't know if it was opposite. It was just the sport was still small, and there just wasn't opportunities to win. A big piece of cash, and $10,000 4 years ago, that was a big payday.
That's
It
a
was a
big
really
payday
big
now.
payday. It is, but there's a lot of big paydays now. When we had one, I mean, that was
Yeah.
that was the big payday. And it was. I'm telling you, man. The guy. I know the guys going to the 10 now. They're every one of those guys is going to get a check, and that's amazing. That's awesome. It's you know, just to look back, and see where it was at just 4 years ago and where it's at now. It's really cool, man. I'm telling you, that first group, those first 10 guys that was in that house, that's some special dudes in that house, man.
You
If
guys
you,
still
I wish
are
you had
very
a
close.
graphic of the 10 guys.
I will build one.
We could probably name them all. Between me and Cory. Now Jamie Denison was there. Jody Queen was there.
I'll
Josh
get
Josh
Chad, if
Stewart.
you're watching, Chad, type
Josh Stewart, Jason Broach,
Yeah.
AJ, Jay Wallen,
Clint Henderson.
Clint Henderson.
Yeah. AJ, Jay. Yeah.
Who else am I
Um,
missing?
um,
I don't want to leave anybody out.
you. Is that it?
well, somebody we'll get a list typed up, and
But,
I will make sure that I
but
post in this.
but if you look at those 10 guys that was there, and now you look at what those 10 guys have done in the past 4 years, they're still at the top.
Oh,
There's
they're
some.
the guys that I'm a fan of. You guys are the reason that I'm in this sport,
Yeah.
and so many others. I mean, you guys have got there's 200 people watching live right now that are fans because of what you guys did for this community and this sport, pushing it forward. It's
Well,
incredible.
every group is special in its own way. If you make it
Absolutely.
there, dude, you've killed it.
There's
That year.
something so special about that
Yeah.
inaugural group, especially the fact that you guys banded together before any of this went down and decided to make this, to make this pact, so to speak. And not only that, but then drawing money out of your own pact to make the pact and make the payouts even better. It just did you have any idea that you would that it would lead to growing the sport in the way, or you just were trying to take care of each other?
At the time, I think we were just trying. I personally was just trying to take care of each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same. Like we said, we wanted to make sure that everybody left with something. We had traveled and paid all those entry fees throughout the year, and it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we're all. That's what makes kayak fishing, in my opinion, great. Is we're all, we take care of each other. We're there for one another as well.
Yeah, it's I'm very fortunate. I get to do quite a few events, with guys, that fish FLW and the elite side. I do some media stuff, and I've spoken with a lot of professional fishermen, and every one of them say that there's no way that you would see this in what their industry. You just don't. I mean, they friendships and camaraderie, but it's in groups. It's in smaller groups. You're not going to put 50 hammers in a room together, and them come out all agreeing on the same thing. Hey, we're gonna chop this money up. It ain't happening, brother. It ain't. It's not. It ain't happening. I know it ain't happening. But hey, that's the difference. You know, we're all still fishing, but there's a difference. There's a difference in the kayak community versus the boat side. Not bad, not good.
No,
There's just
absolutely.
differences. There's just differences.
Now, let me ask you this, and this is probably an impossible question to answer, but I'd love for you guys to weigh on it. I know you guys are both God fearing men, family loving men. Because I believe, and I'm just gonna lay it out there. I don't. If you get offended, log off. I don't care. It's my show. but if you believe the way that I believe, you 10 guys coming together and making that pact and making that stand for each other, which is exactly what you did. You came together to stand for each other, right? And to make that happen, it almost feels very much God driven and very much as in knowing what's coming next. Because had you guys not made that pact and a tie had come down over $10,000, even though you guys are both phenomenal human beings and great men, that could have been a different outcome, right?
I think the easy answer would be say, yeah, it could be. But my honest and truthfully answer is, I think I would have handled it the same way, and I think Cory probably would as well. I think we probably would have ended up chopping it right down the middle.
And
I lost Cory.
No, we did. He'll bounce right back
Okay.
in.
Yeah.
Ron, dude, I've gotten to sit at your table and break bread with your family. I know beyond the shadow of a doubt the character and the heart that you have and how you carry yourself. You are, in my opinion, and so many others, the first true pro in this sport. You're an OG. You're a godfather here and everything that happens. And it's not because of the way that you fish. It's not because because you've won this and this and this and this. It's not because your name is champion. It's because of the heart that's inside that big old chest, bro. I'm telling, and I'm in awe, man. I'm in awe that I'm getting to talk to you. I'm in awe that I get to have this relationship with you. And there's so many folks. These are the stories that bring people in, that bring that fan base in, that share what this is. This amount of community and this amount of taking care of one another has only showed in every single year of the 10, all the way back to last year when Siddiqui and Cody straight up, I mean, we're sharing a school of fish, not caring who was taking first or second place. Like, I got to stand there and watch that. And I didn't even know this story then. And to look at how those things connect and how nonstop every single year in the 10 house, these gentlemen are coming together to take care of each other above themselves is mind blowing to me. I think Cory's iPad died. He'll bounce back in just a minute.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories out. There's a lot of things that our story ain't the only one. There's things that people have done and sacrificed and be like, hey, it'll be okay. It's not that big of a deal to me. And if you know, sometimes keeping your mouth shut is the best thing for if you want to really and truly grow the sport. I mean, Chris Payne wrote an article right after that event happened to me out at the TOC that come out, and it talks about camaraderie and how the sport really took a big leap. After that deal happened with Guillermo, and that was one of the worst things I've ever seen in kayak fishing.
And that was that was weeks before this event.
Dude,
right?
you should truly have Guillermo Gonzalez on your show.
Oh, I love Guillermo.
And let him talk about what happened there, because that was heartbreaking, man. And that was a tough deal. And this happened 3 months. He went from first to completely out of it. I went from second, and they took a fish away to fourth. I mean, it was a bad deal. And this was 3 hours after the tournament was over with. But there's things that's happened. But the other side, to all these stories is it happened to us. and the sport has progressed since that, because you're not going to get to where we're at now. Nobody's perfect. I mean, we just, things are going to happen, and it's how you handle those issues, whether it be as an organization or as an angler, that's going to kind of pave your path in the sport.
Well, I fully believe in that the definition of character is who you are and what you're doing when no one's looking. And guys, let me run off this list of names real quick. This is the official. This is the 10 house from the very first year. We had Jay Wallen out of Kentucky, who needs no introduction. That's freaking Juicy J. That is a man that is solid heart. Just solid human being. Ron Champion, who's on here right now talking with us. Corey Dreyer, who I think got sucked in a rabbit hole on his iPad, and we'll be back in just a minute. Jamie Denison, who has gone on to just continue to produce time and time again out of North Carolina himself.
Jamie went back and won it the next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And on top of being AOY that season.
Yeah.
Jason Broach, you guys are no stranger to the show here, to Jason Broach. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about it later, but I'm very tempted. Jason Broach is coming to the Invitational this year. That's waters that he fishes all the time. He's got an opportunity to win the 10 this year. AJ McWhorter needs no introduction. AJ is a phenomenal angler, stand-up guy, very passionate, very outspoken with what he does, always fights for anglers' rights and fights for what he does. He has gone on to take over and run things over for the Hobie BOS series, and is doing a phenomenal job at what he's doing over there. Really, really crushing it. Clint Henderson. Clint lives just north of me here. He is one of my favorite human beings. Yep, I got you back. I'll bring you on in just a second, Corey. Clint Henderson has gone on to be the first and possibly only ever FLW KBF DZ champion. Josh Stewart, who we just interviewed a couple nights ago, needs no introduction. He's the most consistent angler, I believe, in kayak fishing history to this point. This is his 4th year. Josh is the only guy to have been in the 10 all 4 years. Mel Ash, if you need to ask, you need to go check your history books. Mel Ash is a hammer. Every single time you see his name on that Tourney X NRS leaderboard, Mel Ash can win it. Jody Queen, really? I mean, the TOC Grand Champion this year, multiple times in the DZ, winning opens, knocking down top 3, top 4, top 5 finishes regularly. I just ran some stats on Jody Queen last week. That dude's got 90 top 10s in his tournament fishing career out of a kayak. 90 top 10s. Go ahead, name somebody better. I'll wait. It's incredible what this group of this house has done, what this house represents, how these guys are still dominating, still doing what they're doing, and still building this community and this sport on their backs. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Corey, welcome back, bro.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. So
no, you're good, man. So, guys, I want to talk about the 10. Thank you guys so much. Is there anything in the history books we need to go to before we move forward? Because the show's y'all's. I don't care. If people don't want to watch, they can come back and tune in later. It ain't bothering me at all.
Not for me, man. It finally feels good, for all the information to be out there, because really we probably shouldn't have waited 4 years for it for it all to come out. But you know what? It happened. We put it in the past a long time ago.
Yeah.
I promise you, I don't want to relive that situation. I know Corey don't want to relive that situation. It's in the past, and that's where we'll just keep it. We'll put it in that box and leave it over there.
I agree. It's I moved on a long time ago, and you can't live in the past. And honestly, that next year that we went back, I ended up losing by 1/4 of an inch to Jamie, and when him and I came in, we approached each other and said, "What do you got?" We did the math quick in our head, and we said, "God, I hope there's not another tie." That's so. We had honestly the rules were in place then. Everybody was on the same page as far as that goes, but still, nobody wants to tie. But if at the end of the day, if anybody ties, I couldn't have asked for a better person to tie with than Ron.
Yeah,
so.
Me and Corey, we tied at 190 inches in 10 fish. Yeah. That was 2 sacks of fish, man.
A 19-inch average.
Yeah, out of 10 fish.
Out of 10, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. And obviously, like I said, you guys knew each other a little bit, had some time together.
Oh yeah.
You guys 4 years later. I mean, I threw up the hashtag brothers earlier. No
Yeah,
extra explanation needed, right?
No.
Love it. Well, these guys right here, you guys have been watching for the last 2 weeks, seeing all of these interviews, having all these conversations with these amazing anglers. I'm not going to get into the name and game, but there is another house full of hammers primed and ready to go. Old faces, new faces, a rookie face in his rookie season working his way into the house. A guy who seems to be here every single time. A guy who, for the last year and a half, has seemed to have come out of nowhere, with the exception of fishing nonstop all over the place. A national champion, a kid, a guy with more hardware than just about anybody else in the sport. And and then we got Mr. Jerry Tall himself, Brad Case, coming into the house. I mean, we've got guys after guys here. What do you guys expect to see out of these 10 guys, 11 guys going into the house? Cory, you first, bro.
It's going to be a slugfest, straight up. These guys are all hammers. They're all good guys. I know most of them. I think I've talked to every single one of these guys before at some point, but all great guys. But yeah, absolute slugfest. Nobody's going to give it up easy. I can tell you that.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, this year it being on public water, that'll change things. I mean, we're not fishing a stocked lakes like previous years, and there's these guys are getting the pre-fish. Am I correct in
They're
saying
going to
that?
fish the invitation
that's
you guys didn't have the first year.
Yeah, that's another thing. They're getting the pre-fish. That's going to change. That'll change some stuff, man. You're gonna watch. There's a few guys in there that are consistent anywhere they go in the country, and that's the biggest thing right there. I mean, you can kill it on the local level, but when you start traveling and you start having to fish different type lakes, different conditions, there might be a few guys that's never been fishing some Florida waters, in January. Things are different, man. It's different. It's different fishing down there. I think you're going to see a couple familiar faces that do well across the country that'll have solid tournaments. I'll go out on a limb, man, and drop a few names if you want me. I drop a few names. I've thought about it. I know we talked off camera about a few name drops.
Here's what I would love. Here's what I'd love both of you guys to do. I asked all 11 of these gentlemen to give me 3 names about 3 guys that could beat them, right? With neither one of you guys right now currently in this house, give me 3 of the 3 guys that you think can win it. That's all I'm asking for. It don't have to be in an order. Just give me 3 guys that you think can win it. Ron, you want first dibs, bro?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Cody Milton. I mean, that dude can put it down anywhere he goes in the country. Matthew Scotch. I mean, he dominated. I mean, I don't know how many that dude won this year. But
15.
he won a lot. I mean,
one,
yeah.
15.
And Matthew, Matthew's from Texas, so he gets to fish a lot of waters. That's going to be very familiar with the way Florida's going to fish this time of year. So I think Matthew, he always finds them. I think he'll have a good tournament. And then Russ, man, I've got that guy. You better have your eye on Russ. I'm telling you.
Russ is dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, the other guys are. I mean, it could be anybody. I mean, Brad Case. I mean, you put a frog in his hand. He's fishing froggy waters.
If it's a frog bite, ain't nobody else playing. I'm just saying.
And there will be a good top water bite. Down there in January. I mean, they will smoke a frog. So he's going to be throwing it. So yeah. If I had to pick, 3 people, my eyes on Cody, Matthew, and Russ.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Cory Dreyer. I mean, yeah, dude, like my heart is beating out of my chest. Cory, you are in my phone as legend. Give me your weigh in, bro, on who you think 3 guys that are going to take this thing. Now, wait a minute. Reference all this. Whoa. pump the brakes, back it up. You're coming to fish the Invitational, right?
Oh
That's
yeah, I
right.
gotta pick.
Yes,
wait a minute,
sir.
I need to pick my person that's not in it.
No, Ron, you didn't pick Cory. Hold up.
No, but I didn't get a chance. I got two outsiders.
Okay, two outsiders.
That my eye will be on, to try to get into the 10. One of them is Cory, and the other one is Jason Broach.
Yeah, bro, I'm gonna do another show where I weigh in because people don't care about my opinion, so maybe nobody will watch that one. But right now, Cory, the legend dryer, bro, give me your 3 out of this 11, and then we'll talk about the invitation.
All right.
Give me your 3 out of this 11.
Cody Milton. Cody, I mean,
the perennial.
Yeah, I mean, Cody, he smashes them everywhere. He does his homework. He puts time in on the water, so
and he lived there.
Right.
He lived on this water in college.
Yep. But there's a lot of guys though that are in the 10, like Brad Case, that spends a lot of time in the winter. We talked on the phone the other day about this a little bit, but January, February, March, he spends a lot of time down in Florida.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Whoa, back up. You can't just casually slide over. Oh, me and Brad Case were on the phone the other day. Brad Case is a legend. You were getting, I mean, like, how does that work? Who calls who with Cory Dryer and Brad Case? Like,
he actually reached out to me, but no, it was about work related stuff with wilderness systems. So, but we got to talking about fishing like we normally do, and
y'all talked about Wildy for 2 minutes of that 2-hour phone call. Anyway,
exactly.
Sorry, Wildy Reps.
Yeah. So Cody's one of my top picks. Brad Case is definitely up there as well. Frog fishing, like Ron said, if there's a frog bite, a good topwater bite, it's gonna get ugly. And then Josh Stewart. I mean, Josh is a freaking hammer everywhere, and he's super consistent. So I expect this. If he doesn't win, I expect to see him in the top 3 for sure.
He's always in the top 3. Like Josh, I love you.
He's usually number 2.
Josh is due.
Yeah, he's due. So those are my 3 picks. All the other guys are really strong anglers, and they all have their strong suits. And I expect to throw another one out there. I expect to see Dylan do big things. I mean, he's a young guy.
Did you see his interview, bro? He's 15.
Yeah.
Did you see how he carries himself? What he knows about and understands about the water conditions, understands about fish movement in the current. 15 years old, bro. I can't even explain what I was doing on public access network. When I was 15 years old, because it was not appropriate.
Yeah. Dylan and Jackson Orr are going to be the two younger guys that are fishing with us now. That's the future. That's going to be the 2 guys that we hear about for. I mean,
the only question,
a long time.
No question, Cory Dryer, that those guys are the future. The question is that future starting in 2020? That's the only question with those 2 boys.
Might be. We'll see. We'll see.
Might be. I want to talk about money. We talked about it a little bit.
I want to pick my 2 Invitational guys too.
Hit me.
Without myself being in there, without picking myself, because I don't want to do that. But honestly, I'm coming. I'm coming for it.
Nobody else is picking you either, so it makes sense that you're not.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm coming for it, guys. So I grew up in Florida. I get to fish down there pretty regularly. So we'll see how it plays out. But besides myself, Jody Queen, and then Jason Broach as well. Both of those guys. Jason lived in Florida, and then Jody Queen there again. He's like Josh Stewart guy. And Cody, I mean, consistent everywhere and just a consistent angler, does his homework. And so I wish everybody the best of luck.
Yeah. I'm not making official picks, but I'm going to name 2 Invitational guys that I think nobody's talking about. And I think Drew Gregory. I know that he's, he does the shows and he stays busy and this, that, whatever. Drew Gregory can fish.
That dude's a hammer.
Dude, Drew Gregory is the truth.
I expect to see him up in a creek somewhere
because of all he does, in marketing the community and the sport and all the companies that he works with. I don't know that he gets the respect as a tournament angler that he deserves. And then Craig Dye.
Oh yeah,
Craig Dye can slay.
He's a stick.
Yeah,
and Craig can slay. So I'm just saying, is Denison coming? Like, is that official?
He
Because
is not. I actually talked to him a little bit ago as well, and Jamie is not. He can't get the time off. He said not to get into his business, but extra time off. And I know he's going to.
got a huge schedule.
Well, he spends all that extra time with Lynette now, and I can't blame him there. So
He's burning up the road back and forth to Tennessee.
he is. I told him just go ahead and move.
How do you drop this mic?
Yeah. But yeah, Jamie's going to from what he told me earlier is he will be at Lake Seminole for the BOS. He's not going to have enough time to fish both.
Yeah, that's
and
me.
Ron, you're going to be to the Seminole.
Yeah. My wife, she's got an event that she's got to be at on Monday and Tuesday, which took me out of coming down and being a part of, at least getting some practice in to fish, the Invitational. So I'm not.
You are going to get to go to Seminole, right?
I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not going to get to leave until probably early Wednesday morning, and then I'm just going to drive straight down to Seminole, and I'll be down there through the weekend fishing the BOS. And I won't be there. I did fish the Invitational last year, had a great time. I'll miss hanging out with everybody. It's going to be an awesome event. I wish everybody the best of luck. But I'm just not going to be able to make it this year.
You have your schedule laid out yet? Will we get to see you at Santee Cooper?
I will be at Santee Cooper. That's for sure. Okay. That's 2 hours. 2 hours from the house. I'll be there at that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's where my biggest bass I've ever caught came from. That's where me and Cory, we were talking about earlier. Where we met the first time. Yep. Yeah. I caught a behemoth on that first day. That was about a $7,000 fish.
Let me ask you guys this. You guys are both happily married, way out of both of your leagues. Like way out of both of your leagues. Do the ladies understand y'all's bromance?
Yeah. Hey.
Oh yeah.
When I talked to Cory like a week ago when I was visiting my family, my wife, she was one of the first. She said you should call Cory.
Yep.
Yeah, they know it. It's
Sabrina asked me as well, with when I was on and Ron wasn't on a couple weeks ago. Sabrina asked me as well. She said, "Well, where's Ron?" So I mean, we all know each other, and yeah.
If we ever get our wives together, we might not get to hang out as much.
That's right.
Be hanging out. I bet there are a lot of.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I bet there are a lot of.
That should be. You know what I need to do? I need to get the 10 houses wives and significant others on. But that's an episode idea for the weigh in.
Oh Lord,
that's that'd be cool.
That'd be interesting right there to see, how much of, because I imagine if I was Ron Champion or Cory Dreyer, like I'm Ron Champion and Cory Dreyer, like it's gonna be, woman, you don't say nothing to me. You know I'm Ron Champion.
Nah,
you know I'm Cory Dreyer.
It ain't that way. I promise.
No, I'm wrong.
No. No.
Nope.
I'd have to sleep with one eye open if I said
that's right.
Like that. Yeah.
The wives of the 10 Hoover just spoke. Absolutely.
There you
all
go.
right, guys. Before we run, I want to throw up a graphic here. I want to discuss money. All right. We understand what you guys did for the sport with that first 10 grand and how that progressed. I want to talk about this year's payout, and then I want to talk about next year's payout and how you guys feel about seeing these numbers just 3 years later being in the exact same event. Like, where does this hit you when you guys seen that this was the payout this year?
I think it's awesome, man. I mean, it's what, if you made it to the 10, if you're there, you deserve to walk away with something, even if you don't have a great tournament. You've put in the time, you've spent the money all year long, burning up the roads, wearing a vehicle out, entry fees, fuel, gas, state licenses. It did not come cheap. So seeing everybody be rewarded, I think is awesome.
Now, Cory, I'm gonna let you answer this one. What does it do for the sport and for the community to know a year in advance? It's never been done before. To know a year in advance that what the 10 payout is going to be in 2021 looks like this.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, that's going to bring a bigger draw to the 10. It's going to make people fish harder. Competition is going to be stiff, but yeah, I mean, this is. A few years ago, I mean, I wouldn't even have dreamed that this would have been an opportunity yet. You know, we're talking $37,000 for 10 guys. That's
Plus
unreal. Travel, plus prizes, plus, you know, I mean, it just keeps going on and on.
$50,000 event, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, it's great.
I mean, but
to have the payout in advance, I mean, that's huge. You know,
does it change? Does it change how you chase the season?
Absolutely.
As an angler, I'm asking.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you're going to put more time in it, you know, and try to grind it out as much as you can to make sure that you're in one of those spots.
Yeah, you're going. I think next year you're going to see some new names that you're not familiar seeing. There's going to be some people that's going to come out of nowhere this year, and the reason I believe it's going to happen is because you know there's several trails for guys to fish. Three big ones.
Three trails. Yep.
So and I don't care who you are, you cannot fish them all. There's no way you can chase the AOY for Hobie and chase the AOY for KBF. There's no way you can do both. There's conflicting days.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and just like with BASS. So you're going to have guys that's going to choose to fish one side or the other, and that's just going to open up more spots. I mean, look at what when the MLF, the 80 anglers left bass to go to MLF. Yep. Now look at all the new names on bass.
Absolutely,
and it's opened up some. It opened up a lot of spots. Now you got some guys that come out of nowhere in bass, and that they're household names now. You're going to see the exact same thing happen with this.
Now, I want to ask a perfectly blunt question, and I'm throwing it all out there because I know the character and the value that you two guys have, and the opinions and the weight that carries behind your two gentlemen's words. We see, and I'm not going negative. I want this to be positive, but we see the competition, just like MLF and Bass and FLW. Just we see that competition amongst each other. Can the fabric of the kayak community, which is the anglers, keep intact the community that we've all known and loved and grown? Can we hold that together?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's going to come down to the individuals of doing it, and not turn into those cliques that we talked about earlier. The small little groups.
Yeah. Like I said, sometimes just keeping your mouth shut and not saying anything goes a whole lot further. The way that the sport has grown, and with bass, putting their I don't care what anybody says.
Bass is huge.
When the biggest fishing organization in the country puts their name to saying, okay, we're going to have a kayak trail. That really, we knew that we were legit and we were doing the right sport. But this just put, an exclamation point on it. And
guys, there's going to be, you're weeks away. Sorry to interrupt, Ron. You're weeks away from having a kayak angler walk across the stage at the 50th anniversary of the Bassmaster Classic.
But KBF did it with FLW at their championship.
100%.
That's right.
So, but what this has done is it's put a whole lot more eyes on the sport and a whole lot more eyes on the anglers. And when those eyes come from all these potential sponsors, they're watching every single thing that is put on social media. If you're in a private group and you think, oh, it's private and it's not going to get shared, you're completely wrong. And there's sponsors that are monitoring it, they're watching it. And if you're really, truly trying to be a professional and do this on a professional level, you really need to monitor what you post on social media. Whether or not it's you feel like, oh yeah, I'm putting this out there because it needs to be said. Yeah, sometimes not saying something is better.
Now I want to talk
think twice or three times before you go and post.
Yeah, I've typed stuff out. I've typed 500 words and then I delete it. I felt good to type it out. I got it out, but I didn't send it.
That's right.
I've done it.
Now, how many more? And I'm just going to use this name because he's in the 10 and it's right there. How many more Mike Elsie's, meaning guys that were doing well in the big boat world, and then came in here, and he came in, did a couple challenge events, went to the biggest event of the year and won it, and hasn't slowed down since. How many more of those guys is this community about to get, in y'all's opinion?
We're about to get a bunch, I feel like,
Yeah.
because of Bassmaster.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've had 5 co-anglers that fish on the BASS, 5 different co-anglers message me, and I've been talking to them, and they wanting to know what do I need? How does this work? I've already spoken with 5 different co-anglers.
Walking them through CPR and Tourney X
Yep.
and everything that goes into that. Tourney X and Dwayne, I mean, I cannot say enough amazing things about Tourney X. And now Hobie is on board as well. They've done a phenomenal job. I mean, Tourney X is straight in on the back of what Dwayne and his wife and all of the anglers have done to make Tourney X what it is now rocking through and really is that standard in the sport that all 3 of the big 3 are now a part of and taking advantage of.
Yeah.
So big deal there. What do we have? What does it look like moving forward as far as the growth of the sport? I mean, did you guys? This year is obviously a huge year. Yeah, last year Hobie stepping in. This year Hobie coming back stronger, and with Bass stepping in. What's the big picture, guys? Do we see a $50,000 or $100,000 being a standard? Is that something that you guys see in the future?
For a championship, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, in the future for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're going to regularly see, there's going to be some separation, probably after this year. You'll see somebody's going to kind of like take off, and they're going to have a hugely successful year. Somebody's got to be grassroots. You've got to be bringing the new anglers into the sport. There's always going to be tournaments that not everybody wants to pay the high entry fees, the $300 entry fees. Somebody's going to have to continue doing that. I think
you have to have the grassroots.
the KBF trails.
Yep.
What are the trails? The entry
The
fee
challenge
trails.
series.
Yep. So that's going to KBF is for sure going to continue to bring the new faces, the new blood. You've got the pro trail. That's going to give guys a chance to go out and step out with some higher paydays and with higher entry fees. Our sport has changed so much in the last 3-4 years. It's it's changed a lot. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of eyes on our sport right now. I'm talking non-endemic sponsors. I'm going to give myself a little plug real quick. I got some big announcements coming here within the next couple of weeks.
You throw on Facebook the other day. Yep.
Yeah. No, it's there's people are watching, man. I'm telling you, there's some big opportunities. Big opportunities.
We're getting my last 2 questions, and I would love an answer from both of you if you'll do it. Cory, I'll let you dive in first, bro. 2 questions. Let me go with the first one. We talked about the sticks. We talked about these guys. I don't want to at all, and Ron just touched base on it. I don't want to at all forget out the folks that are just getting into it or that are sitting at home on the fence, getting in this or not. Advice to the rookies. I mean, we got you got several guys that that it's their first year in the 10 house. You got Derek Brundle, who it's his first year in kayak bass fishing, is now in the 10 and chasing his share of over $30,000. What's for both of you guys? Cory, you first. What's the advice to the rookies and folks that are on the fence about getting into the kayak and getting into the sport?
Go ahead, Ron. Let me think about this for a second.
Hey, you're a rookie. You got nothing to lose. Go out there and have the confidence that you're going to win. You're going to give these guys a big stink burger to eat. I mean, you go fish with confidence. You made it there. You put the work in. You got there. You can win it just like anybody else because it's still, you're just fishing. You're fishing the same waters, the same conditions. Put the work in, get you some good practice in, have confidence that you're going to win it because I don't care if you're fishing against, I don't care what big name you're fishing against. Anybody can be beat at any day.
That's right. Yeah, practice. Read the rules. Go out and have fun. It really is. It's all mental. Yeah. Jamie likes to say it all the time. It's between your ears. That's the honest to God truth. Go out and fish your strengths. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just do your thing and you're going to succeed. You're going to do well.
and have
All right.
fun. Have fun doing it, because you might not get back there next year, and enjoy the event for what it is. Suck it up and really have fun. Because man, it's you're still. I mean, you're getting the fish. You're fishing an amazing fishery. You're fishing for a lot of money. Enjoy it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, but just fish with confidence.
All right, my last question for both of you guys, and I hope that you'll answer. You guys have been there, you've done it, you're founding fathers of what the Tin House is. You're legends in the sport, whether either one of you guys want to humbly admit it or not. What's the best advice for these 10 guys this year going into the DZ Tin House down in Kissimmee, Florida, because of Kissimmee Sports and DZ and KBF? The best piece of advice for these 11 guys coming into this house about what to take away from this as two veterans in this industry.
Cory, you get to go first this time.
Get to know each other, take care of each other, and watch each other's back even after this event.
Yeah.
Ron, take care of each other. I mean, that's the biggest thing is when I left the 10, I got a call, I think within a week or so. Ron had me a sponsorship with Picasso Lures. And that's just there. Everybody's a good people, man. Just have a good time and take care of one another.
Take care of each other.
Yeah, just same thing that Cory said. Get to know each other, man, because you never know, who's going to turn out to be one of your closest buddies, after an event like this, and just enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. You're just have a good time. Take the event for what it is. Everybody's going away with money,
It's
So
the other thing is it's not about.
Everybody's winning. You're winning something. You're taking cash home with you. So you're already way ahead of any other event you fish. Now go out there, fish your strengths. Don't worry about what the next person is doing. Don't watch somebody rigging up their stuff there at the house. You do your thing. Focus on what you're going to do, and go hammer them.
The 10 is a lot more than just the money too. That's going to change. If you decide to do this as a career, it's going to change. Everybody's going to know you, whether you're a rookie or whatever. They're going to see your name and they're going to recognize you as being in the 10. It's definitely going to change your career.
I mean, think about it. 20 years from now, there's still only 21 names on that trophy.
That's
so
right.
imagine 20 years from now what we're talking about. So yeah. So
no pressure.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I'm never at a loss for words. I love both you gentlemen. I from the bottom of my heart, Cory Dreyer, we talk multiple times a day. I love you, bro. Your entire family, everything that you are, everything that you stand for. You're a brother of mine, not only as a United States Marine, as a competitor in and out of these plastic boats. Everything that you do, I'm a fan of, bro. I love you to death. Thank you so much.
Love you too, buddy.
Ron and Champion, bro. I have had the honor to spend time in your home, to spend time with your son and your daughter, to go out and make jokes and cut up at your expense with your amazing, impeccable, incredible woman of a wife, and hear y'all's backstories, hear your stories. You have come on my show every single time I've asked you to do. I will forever be in debt to you, Ron Champion. I love you, bro.
Love you too,
man.
Thank
you so much, man, for doing what you're doing. Thank you guys for being leaders in this sport, in this community. You guys are a giant chunk of why I have fought and I have begged and I have torn to make a space in this industry for myself and for so many others. And I'm in debt to both of you gentlemen for the rest of my life, and I mean that. I love you guys. Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, guys. That does it for Ron Champion, Cory Dreyer. Appreciate it, guys. Guys, if you're listening to the podcast, give me a second. That's an hour and a half, guys, of incredible storytelling. Incredible to see how this community has changed and has grown and has challenged one another to be better. I don't mean to be better anglers. I don't mean to catch more fish. I don't mean to have more money in your account. I mean a community of guys that has challenged each other to be better fathers, better friends, better brothers, better husbands, better human beings. This community, I say it all the time, is full of the greatest human beings I've ever met, and they spend their free time in little plastic boats. If you've missed any of these episodes, please go back and watch them. These 11 men story that are that are have spent so much time on the road, grinding, fighting, sleeping in cars, at boat ramps, in hammocks, in tents, in the rain, in the cold, in the snow, straight up risking opportunity. These are amazing vessels, amazing kayaks. They're top of the line. These industries, these companies put a lot into these. At the end of the day, you're a 12-foot, kayak sitting out in the middle of St. Clair, sitting out in the middle of Gunnersville. There's opportunities for you to not go back. There is danger to this. Absolutely. We do the best we can do, and we take care of one another. The story that you guys heard tonight is mind-blowing to look back on just 4 years ago and hear about how 10 guys came forward to come together before they even had a clue that there could be a tie, and decided to break bread, literally break down the amount of cash paid out, regardless of what was going to be shown for a television show on national television, regardless of putting their own name out to be a champion, right? They straight up broke down the opportunity to take it all on their own, to take care of one another first. Then the tie happened. Then they came together to not only take care of themselves, but to take care of the community. I full-heartedly believe that there is no 10 now if those two gentlemen that you just witnessed tonight didn't step forward and handle things like gentlemen and like professionals that they have proven to be every single time they've stepped into the spotlight since coming into this sport, since that day. Guys, big shout out to Fish USA. I didn't even get my plug into you guys, and I'm sorry. I thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you guys for watching this stuff. If you missed anything, go check it on the podcast. Go check it at Scott Beutjer Fishing on YouTube, or go over to kayakbassfishing.com/the weigh-in and listen into the rest of this stuff. I'm done. I'm exhausted, and I'm more in love with this community and this sport than I've ever been before. And I want you guys to love it the way that I love it. I'll see you guys on the next episode of The Weigh-In. I'm your host, Scott Beutjer, telling you guys always, tackle your dreams. I love you guys. Peace. Good night. See you. Woo, what a show. What a show.